Yo, what is up? Welcome to Catching Cars. We are currently sitting in a 2025 Kia Sorento with, you might be able to hear it, the diesel engine. So the 2.2 liter diesel engine is a European spec model. And I have to say, I think this diesel engine fits the Kia Sorento quite nicely, to be honest. Personally, I think a diesel engine goes with an SUV nicely either way. A lot of people go out and buy these, G63s, AMGs, and performance, Trackhawk, Jeep Cherokees. For me, it's not really as thrilling, because if I'm going to get an engine like that, I want a sporty vehicle as well. And an SUV is like pretty much the least sporty vehicle you can get. So I think a diesel engine, especially also in terms of fuel economy, works really nicely with SUVs, and like I said, also with this Kia Sorento. So I just reset the trip computer. I'm going to tell you guys what we're averaging later on at the end of the video. But generally, I've been driving this for the past 2 weeks, and I was able to get around 7 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers on average, which is really good. Considering the size and the weight of this vehicle, and then also, like I said, aerodynamics plays a role as well. That's really good fuel economy for a vehicle like this. Now you have 194 PS, which in today's world is not a lot, but it does sound, like it's healthy, and it is. But the vehicle does feel slightly slower than that 194 PS power number might suggest. So it's decently fine to be able to merge up onto the Autobahn or highway, wherever you're at. It's decently fine to, keep up with modern day traffic, but it is not a powerful or sporty vehicle in any way. Like I said, it's powerful enough, and the benefit is that you do get that great fuel economy, and you do have a lot of torque with this diesel engine, so it feels decently powerful enough. What else is there to say about this 2025 Kia Sorento? Honestly, this for me is a real SUV. In one of my previous videos with, I think, the Kia EV3, I said that it's not really an SUV to me, and cars like the Ateca maybe, or that little CHR or whatever it is not a real SUV to me. But this, I could consider this a real SUV. You have the all-wheel drive in this one that we currently have. You have slightly higher ride height than a wagon or a sedan or a coupe or whatever. You could probably do some light to mid-grade off-roading if you really wanted to. You want to go out in the woods with the kids, to go for a hike or whatever. You could do that easily with this Kia Sorento. So this to me is a real SUV, and I think it's a rather nice looking SUV as well, to be honest. Of course, it's not the most beautiful vehicle in the world. It would probably have to be a coupe to be the most beautiful vehicle in the world. But for SUVs, this is definitely one of the nicer looking ones as well. And I also find the interior quality just up there. You also have this little thing here to control your climate control. Now this is that little switchable one where you can switch between, like this being a volume knob, and these are your audio controls, and then you could click this to have it set to your climate controls. I've had this set to climate controls like 99% of the time I've been driving this, and then if I want to adjust my volume or anything, I'll just do that here on the steering wheel for me as a driver. So overall the interior layout is nice, and also the interior quality is decent. Now it's not premium, I wouldn't call it premium, but it's close to premium. Honestly, like, we do have the highest trim, but it's close to premium, and feels overall very nicely. This is nicely padded. This is decently padded. The armrest here is decently padded, so it's really not bad. I do wish there was like another controller here to control the screen. I'm just not a big fan of these touchscreens while driving, and I hope that auto manufacturers are starting to understand that while you're driving, reaching all the way up here is just, I'm not the tallest person, and I'm over exaggerating here slightly as well, but reaching up here, and then while you're driving, your finger is moving, the car is moving. It's just not as intuitive as if you had a control knob here like the old MMI, or the BMW iDrive or command system from Mercedes, and some others as well. Mazda is one of the few besides BMW that's still doing that, and I wish more manufacturers would start going back to the rotary dial. And then you could also just have it That is very annoying. We're going to talk about that in a second. But then you could also have it to be a touchscreen and also be controllable by, you know, the gear, by the knob here in the center console. So that for me would be the perfect solution. Like I said, I hope auto manufacturers are going to start to get the hang of that in the near future. The audio system is, and this is great. And overall, this is an SUV that I could definitely recommend. Just like the Skoda Kodiaq with the diesel engine, you know, you're getting a lot of the premium features and premium feel that you'd get maybe in an X5 or a GLE, but for a lot less of the price, for like almost half, maybe 3/4 of the price. And like I said, you're not getting the badge, you know, the brand name, but for me, I don't really care, and you shouldn't care either. And like I said, you got ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. The audio system is great. The nav system is decent. You know, the screens are good. You can also change this here if you don't like having like the little square thingies here. You can also change that to be your little round dials. Of course, I prefer the old school classic gauges, so I'd have it like this as well. The only reason I had it set up the other way is because you can't have a digital speedo here if you have the round dials, so that's kind of annoying. But you do have a digital speedo in the head-up display. You have all these USB plugs. This is a very good family vehicle, and like I said, I could definitely recommend the Kia Sorento, especially if you live in Europe and you can get the diesel option. Definitely go for the diesel option. Other than that, of course, it's not a sporty vehicle. It's decently comfortable. However, I must admit, it is slightly harsher riding and still not sporty compared to some of its rivals. So you do feel some of the little bumps, you know, and potholes and stuff like that more than you would with some of the competition or some of its competitors with this Kia Sorento. But other than that, like I said, it's good looking. Interior quality is decent, near premium. Audio system, if you get the upgraded one, is great. Climate control knobs, good if you just leave it on climate control and don't switch between these two modes here. And overall, I really enjoyed my time with this Kia Sorento. And I also said previously that Kia is on a roll. Kia is doing a great job with their new vehicles. They're not perfect, but they've came so far, and I believe they have a bright future ahead of them if they continue down this path. As well, you know, the EVs, I'm not a big fan of EVs, but their EVs are definitely some of the better ones in the market or on the market. And, you know, traditional vehicles like this SUV Kia Sorento with the diesel engine is also just very nicely refined. Speaking of refinement, you do hear the diesel engine clatter away slightly. It is a little bit louder than some other diesel engines, so you do hear it like this here. I mean, you could definitely hear it's a diesel engine, but a diesel generally is not going to sound very great either way. At least that's my opinion. So you're not buying this for the sound, and like I said, you're buying the diesel for the fuel economy. I reset the fuel economy earlier when I started this vehicle, you know, just putting around here, and we're averaging 6 liters per 100 kilometers, guys. That is, I mean, for a vehicle like this, come on, that's great. You can barely beat that. I mean, there's some other diesels that are slightly more efficient, but that's really, really good fuel economy there. Oh, I have a little spider on me. Hold up. All right, so we got rid of the spider. He actually just fell down there somewhere, but it was a very tiny one, so I should be all right. I was speaking about fuel economy, of course, but also earlier while we were driving, we had that little annoying please consider to take a break, bing, 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 bing thing. So I have all the assistance tech off that I could find. And with Kia vehicles, this is one major gripe and a major problem I have with modern Kia vehicles is I cannot find a way to deactivate that stupid driver monitor system or whatever. You can deactivate the driver monitor system, but it still sometimes will tell you, please consider to take a break. If you're looking at the nav, or you're looking out, you know, at the beautiful scenery, the houses, or whatever you're looking at, right? Of course, I'm paying attention to the road. I shouldn't be on my phone, I get that. And I'm rarely on I don't use my phone when driving unless I'm skipping a track and it's not working. Honestly, I don't do that, and I advise you guys not to do that either. But the The system is super annoying, and it'll beep at you like every, let's say, 10 to 15 minutes and tell you, please consider to take a break, please consider to take a break, bing, 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 bing. And there's no way to deactivate it. Like, even if you're holding a conversation with somebody, or you're on the phone, you know, and you're just looking around, you're on the phone through Bluetooth, of course, talking to somebody, and then you still have that annoying bing, 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 bing bothering you the whole time, or you're jamming out to some tunes. That can be very frustrating and annoying. And like I said, there's no way to deactivate that. But you guys know how I feel about assistance tech in general anyway. There's going to be some separate videos talking about that in the near future as well. But overall, I can definitely recommend the Kia Sorento. And if I'd give it a score, a rating out of 10, of course, in its category vehicle for SUVs, I'd definitely give it a 9 out of 10. With the diesel engine, of course. It's not super fast, like I said, fast enough, near premium quality, and overall you're getting a very nice, decent looking SUV for the family. And that'll be it for today, guys. I hope to catch you guys in the next video. Make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.